Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're getting into a topic that is, I think, one of the most critical but also most ignored parts of home infrastructure.
Septic tank maintenance.
Septic tank maintenance. You, our listener, shared some really fascinating sources with us about this huge industry shift. They're calling it the eco-revolution in septic care.
And it's such a necessary conversation. For most homeowners, the septic system is just out of sight, out of mind.
Until it fails.
Until it fails, exactly.
Okay.
And what our sources are showing is this clear pivot away from the old, chemical fixes toward much more sustainable biological solutions.
Right. So our mission today is to really cut through the noise. We want to understand that devastating feedback loop that traditional chemicals create.
And then look at the science behind this new wave.
Yeah. For you, the learner, the goal here is pretty simple. Get quick, reliable results for your system, but do it without the serious risks of chemical runoff and without damaging your groundwater. This is just essential stuff if you own rural property.
We're really framing this as a change in philosophy. We're moving from a model of chemical assault, kit everything, to a model of biological support.
Feeding the right workers?
Precisely. The chemicals we all used to trust actually caused long-term environmental damage and, ironically, made the system fail faster.
Okay, let's unpack that irony, because it's a real chemical catch-22. Why are those old-school cleaners? Why are they actually counterproductive?
Well, it all boils down to what the tank actually is. It's not just a holding container.
Right.
It's a dedicated self-contained waste treatment plant, and it runs completely on biology. The traditional treatments, they were designed as these quick fixes, and they often have three major culprits that just destroy that ecosystem.
Okay, so what are these culprits?
First up, you have your harsh acids and chemical solvents. These things are designed to just liquefy blockages instantly.
Sounds good on the surface.
It does, but they liquefy too much, too fast. And this sudden rush of sludge and solids gets pushed out of the tank and straight into the drain field.
Which is basically a giant soil sponge.
A foil sponge that you do not want clogged. So you're trading a simple pipe blockage for a massive drain field blockage, which is a much, much worse problem.
A nightmare problem.
It is. Then the second culprit is antibacterial agents. Sometimes even formaldehyde-based ingredients they use as, like, deodorizers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, these just kill the vital anaerobic bacteria. Those are your initial cleanup crew. They do all the heavy lifting, breaking down paper and organic waste. You wipe them out, and the whole process just stops dead.
Wait, hold on. I need to dwell on that for a second. We're putting products in the system to clean it, and those same products are explicitly designed to kill the very microorganisms that are doing 90% of the actual cleaning.
That is the ultimate paradox. It's staggering, isn't it?
It's anxious, yeah.
It's staggering.
The intended result is a temporary clear-out. The actual result, long-term, is catastrophic sludge buildup, solids that just float around and won't digest, blockages, and a huge risk of raw, untreated waste contaminating your soil and groundwater. So the consumer is unknowingly buying a product that pollutes their own land and basically fast-tracks a $10,000 repair bill.
Exactly. And that core conflict, polluting your land while breaking your system, that's what drove the market to demand something better. Homeowners are just way more conscious now.
Which is what brought on this whole pivot to biological support.
Right. Instead of chemical bombs, we now have a whole range of eco-friendly solutions that actually support the biology inside the tank.
Okay, so let's look at that toolkit. There are 4 main categories replacing the harsh stuff. I think we need to compare them because you, the listener, need to know when to use what.
Absolutely. So first category, enzyme-based digester packets.
Okay.
Think of these as little enzyme scissors. They're pretty mild, they're non-living, and they just help the bacteria you already have to cut up large molecules. They're fantastic for prevention, for regular upkeep.
But not for a real problem.
Exactly. If you have a serious odor issue or heavy sludge, they're just too slow. They're great for maintenance, but pretty weak for restoration.
Okay, so pure prevention. What about the second group, the bacterial boosters?
Bacterial boosters are active. They introduce new natural strains of beneficial bacteria, actual live microorganisms, back into your tank.
So you're adding more workers to the crew.
You are. And they're moderately strong. They're superb for rebuilding the tank's population after, say, you've had heavy antibiotic use in the house or you just had the tank pumped out. But they require monthly use, and they still work pretty slowly compared to the final category.
And the third one? Biodegradable, non-acidic cleaners.
Those are more for your household drains and pipes, not the deep tank itself. They're good for making sure what's leaving your sink isn't immediately harming the tank microbes.
But they're not going to fix a sludge problem.
No, not strong enough for that.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the fourth category, the oxygen-based septic tablets. Our sources suggest these are the heavy hitters in this new sustainable model.
The game changers.
Correct. When you compare all the non-chemical options, these are consistently listed as the strongest eco option out there. They're designed for system restoration.
So not just maintenance.
Right. For tackling significant sludge reduction, serious odor removal, and restoring flow to sluggish systems. They offer the kind of power you used to only get from dangerous chemicals, but without that environmental cost.
Which I guess explains the slightly higher initial price tag. You're paying for a faster, more complete result.
Precisely. You're investing in a turbocharger for your biological system. And the core of that turbocharger, it's not a chemical reaction, it's pure biology, just supercharged by dissolved oxygen.
Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting for me. The mechanism of action. Why is oxygen the magic bullet here that lets you bypass those harsh acids?
It's a fantastic biological hack. See, septic tanks are naturally stagnant. They're anaerobic, which means they're dominated by bacteria that don't need oxygen.
And those are the slow ones.
They're slow, they're inefficient, and their byproduct when they digest waste is hydrogen sulfide.
Rotten egg smell.
That's the one.
Yeah.
The classic awful septic smell. So the lack of oxygen dictates both the pace and the smell. Now, when you introduce high levels of dissolved oxygen with these advanced tablets, you create the perfect environment for aerobic bacteria to thrive.
The good guys.
The A-team. Think of the anaerobic bacteria as tired janitors with broken mops working in the dark. The aerobic bacteria, they're like a Formula One pit crew. They are way more efficient, and they process fats, grease, paper, organic sludge at, exponentially faster rates.
So you're not just cleaning the system, you're swapping out the entire management team for a faster, cleaner crew.
That is the perfect analogy. And this biological upgrade, it deals with the sludge and the odor at the exact same time. The high concentration oxygen actively breaks down that hydrogen sulfide, neutralizing the stench at its source.
So you're not just masking it with perfume.
Not at all. You are eliminating it.
Let's get a little technical because the sources mention some impressive engineering here. We're talking about leading products, like the ones highlighted, that can release up to 10 liters of oxygen per tablet. That's a huge amount.
It is a significant load.
Yeah.
And that volume is critical for another key function, pH balancing.
Okay.
This is what separates an amateur solution from a highly engineered one. Anaerobic decay, the slow kind, produces these volatile fatty acids. That's what lowers the tank's pH, making it acidic.
And an acidic environment kills the good bacteria, right?
Yeah.
So it just slows things down even more.
Absolutely. It's a vicious cycle. The bacteria need a near-neutral environment around pH 7.0 to work their best. The large, controlled release of oxygen helps neutralize those destructive acids.
So by balancing the pH, the tablets create a safer, more effective home for the good bacteria.
You're supercharging their digestive power for the long haul. It's a really holistic approach. Clean the waste, kill the odor, and make the environment hospitable for the workers, all without corrosive agents.
And this isn't just happening in the main tank, is it?
No, and that's key.
Yeah.
These treatments are engineered for what the sources call full system support. They dissolve and circulate, so they treat the scum layer on top, the sludge at the bottom, the exit pipes, the drain lines. And critically, they help the aerobic bacteria get into the leach field and restore the soil's ability to absorb water.
And that right there is probably the most terrifying and expensive problem for any septic owner. Drain field failure.
It is the financial nightmare scenario. If your leach field clogs with solids, the soil becomes toxic, it becomes impermeable. Replacing a drain field can easily run into 5 figures.
Wow.
So by sending oxygen and beneficial bacteria into that field, you restore the soil's health and you can dramatically extend the life of your entire system.
Okay, let's tie all this great science back to the real-world impact. What were the main reasons homeowners gave for making this switch, beyond just wanting to be eco-friendly?
Well, the feedback really centered on tangible benefits. First, just a huge reduction in environmental anxiety. People on rural properties or near well water, they simply did not want harsh chemicals leaching into their soil.
Makes sense.
And then the proof of concept for many was the smell.
The immediate practical stuff.
Exactly. Odor elimination was cited constantly. Homeowners said the odors just vanished, not masked, but neutralized. It's a clean smell, or I should say no smell at all.
And then there's system longevity. That ties directly to your wallet,
It does. Better waste breakdown means less sludge buildup,
which means fewer pump outs.
significantly fewer pump outs. And a pump out isn't cheap. So if you can reduce the need for one by even half over the long run, the slightly higher cost of these high-tech tablets becomes a real financial win. You save time, hassle, and maintenance costs.
So when you put it all together, green septic treatments are kind of a quadruple win. They're better for the planet, protecting soil and water.
Better for the structural health of your system.
Better for your wallet because they reduce maintenance.
And they protect the beneficial microorganisms that are doing all the work for you.
Yeah. The key takeaway here seems to be that the industry isn't just shifting to a biological model for, altruistic reasons. It's shifting because the biology and oxygenation model is proving to be vastly more effective than the chemical model ever was.
It's just a superior solution.
Right.
It's the necessary evolution of home waste management.
It really shows that being environmentally responsible today doesn't always mean these huge disruptive lifestyle changes or sacrificing performance. Sometimes it's as simple as choosing a smarter way to maintain the ecosystem that's literally right under your feet.
For sure.
This new wave, led by these high-concentration oxygen solutions, it just offers a powerful, sustainable, long-term way to fight smells, sludge, and keep your whole system running freely.
Which I think raises a really important question for you, the homeowner, to think about. Are you truly considering the direct link between what you flush down the drain and the immediate health of that microscopic ecosystem supporting your entire house?
That's a great point.
Understanding that your septic tank is a living thing and that it needs biological support, not a chemical attack. That is the biggest and, frankly, the most financially impactful lesson you can take from this deep dive.